Well, there we have it. Motor's completely disassembled-ish. I did not press the flywheel out because I don't have to. This side of the case, perfectly fine. I have nothing to worry about on this. I might pull the pistons and throw new slugs and rings in this while it's this far apart. Normal people would probably also clean up the cases and do a full motor rebuild. I'm really on the fence. Again, bike came out of a barn fire. It has soot and ash that you can't pay for. All over the bars, everything else, everything you touch on it. Still smells like fire. I love that. I want this to mechanically run like a brand new bike. I love the look. I have a shop I can blast and coat and take apart every single component of this bike. I want to do it. I also have a really cool old school Harley Ness skinny tube front section sitting at the shop that would look awesome with a little digger frame. I'm trying to avoid that. I love the way this bike sits. I love the stance. I love the height. Put a 21 mini spool or mini drum front on here. It's already got a high shoulder 18. Not the biggest fan of the tire, but all of this came with it when I bought it, with the exception of the Fat Bob taillight. I love the stance. I like the way that this bike looks. I love the fact that it was a runner. Top end wise, it didn't make any weird noises. I'm looking at stuff now that the motor is completely apart. What do? I want to keep it kind of Survivor. I want it to look like it just came out of a barn, but I also want it to run well, and I want it to run reliably well, as much as you can for an old Ironhead. The ignition system that I was super excited to reuse is not reusable unless I can find the plastic cup that came with power arcs. The pistons, a little bit of wear on the front and back side, not past the runnable, good running point at all. But at this juncture, the crank's already disassembled. Everything else is out. The crank's still in the case, but for a rebuild, the cylinders actually look awesome. Just a little bit of wear on the back side of the piston, which is relatively normal. But I'm going to rehone the cylinders. I'm definitely going to re-ring it. I haven't decided on pistons yet. I'll keep you guys updated as I progress through that. Everything on the transmission actually looks really good at first quick inspection. I did not do a full detailed double check everything. I didn't check the shifter dog collars or the shifter dogs themselves yet. All of that will be coming soon. All right, you guys can definitely see all of the oil in the bottom of this wood pan, which is why I did it this way. Is it leak proof? Absolutely not. However, this is kind of what I keep this little tray around for. Catch all for messes that I like to make. At least it's condensed and out of sight and it's not all over my floor. Next up is the case bolts. I got these two little retainers that go to the block-off plate. These should be able to stay on up here. Don't have to worry about that because the case is split right down this center line of the crank. I will pull all of the loose bolts on this side first, then we'll spin it around and get the other ones off. Okay, I got the engine pitched on its side. We are going to take off of the case bolts right now. We have one up front. This is a perfect place, actually, since I'm using my fancy Amazon box template. We're going to do this one more time for the primary. We have a primary-ish. Okay, now, on the case, since it's not just the primary cover we're talking about, we can't forget about our cylinders, and then however this comes around. Doesn't have to be perfect, but if you want to mark these and keep everything centered, we know that this one up here is going to be our center. We know we're going to have one out here. I'm literally just mapping out all of the bolts around the case. We have one on the inside primary where that bridge is, so we're going to put one right here. Down. That's about it. Just got a handful. This bolt can stay. That's the bung that I need to cut out and re-weld. This is where it's cracked. Tried welding it cold with everything assembled. It was a terrible idea. Don't try and cut corners and then or else you end up like this. You don't want to do that. So I got 3 bolts here. This one up here that you guys might not be able to see is actually the crank. I also have to re-weld up this bung, and then we're going to weld up this section right in here because this is all JB weld. Let's turn all of the crap and brokenness on here into actual metal again and make it solid and reliable and usable. Again, I don't like doing things the wrong way. However, the amount of money and time that I had into this bike was negligible. Now, I can fix all the stupid and clean all of this up. 1/2-inch bolts on the case on this side. But they are kind of through bolts. So we're going to do that one. This one, you actually have a nut on the other side as well. So I might need to put a wrench on this. Definitely need to put a wrench on that one. I got a 1/2-inch wrench. So I didn't bring one over. Reach behind here. Drop this case back. Set it right down on top of the transmission. Open and wrench here, and then we will pull this off. The stud's coming out on this side for this one, which is fine. You got a nut and a washer on the other side of this case. I'm going to drop this right back in the hole and put the nut on the inside of the box. The other one's threaded into the case. But now I have those 3 laid out. Then use your muscles, spin your... Ooh, I lost the screen for the oil pump, for the breather gear. That'll stay with the oil pump, so let me put that one over here. Spin this motor around. Probably could have just spun the box around too. Get this out of my way. Now we get to the other bolts on the cam side of the case, which are also 1/2 inches surrounding the outside. So just kind of work your way around, figure out where they're at. Got one up here, one here. Oh, let's make another template while we're at it. Since we got the primary on the other side, we will come over here to the cam chest. Here, you get to see my visual skills. Here's our cam chest, here's our case, something like that. Good enough. Here's our generator hole, here's our sprocket, and we're good from there. We got a bolt above the sprocket right here. We have one on the cam chest here. 1, 2. We have our motor mount bolts back here, which are gone. And we have our 1, 2, 3 or 4 on the bottom. So we have one down here. We have one right in front of that. And then we have the one underneath the oil pump, which should be right about here. Punch your holes. Like so. I'm an artist. Just kidding. Whatever. Just need to know where we're at. There should be washers in here. Nope. 1, 2. Then we got the bottom dirty ones. 1, 2. And then a nut. The nut's going to actually go back on the case, so I'm going to leave that one down here because there is one stud there. But we do have this one, and we have this one. Super fancy decorative box. And there you have it. Case is pretty much free. Now we get to start tapping around on this. I don't know on the pinion gear. I'm going to try it. I don't remember. For whatever reason in my head, I thought that this will stay in the case. It could not work, and I will correct myself here shortly. It's been a while since I've done an Ironhead full crank case split. So now we have a case. We have our trusty dead blow. Do not start swinging around on this like crazy. You don't want to do that. But if you pound on the crank instead, it will start separating the case halves. Okay? With a dead blow. Do not use a regular hammer for this. Do not go crazy and start banging on every single part. If you hit over here, it will probably crack. If you hit in here, a little bit better. Not ideal, but the crank will stay in the case to some extent. I'm being very gentle on the dead blow. I'm just trying to separate the case to figure out what parts are gonna go where. I think, shit, is it just the snap ring? I have a little bit of a gap on the cases here, so I'm putting a screwdriver in. I'm not prying, I'm not beating, I'm just kind of trying to walk it off. Because truthfully, I don't remember from this point which parts actually separate. So we're just kind of gently pushing this off the dowel pins. Which side is the crank going to stay on? We're learning together. I'm hoping that it's going to come up this way. That would make my life way easier. So I'm just going to put a screwdriver in down here. I'm not prying. Like I said, I'm not sitting here digging into the aluminum. Just kind of trying to walk it off of the dowels. Like so. That actually seems to come up pretty good here. Also helps to try and get your screwdriver way past it so you're not really, you don't want to mar the cases, you don't want to mess anything up here. But, as I thought, it is coming up this way. The side that I need to repair is staying right where it's supposed to, like so. There is our Ironhead. Ooh, they glip-talled the inside. This motor was definitely rebuilt at some point, which is kind of nice. Now it's a lot of cleanup. I'm going to bring this back to the shop. I need to clean up and blast this entire inside area, get all the JB weld and cracks off so this can get repaired. Make a new bung. I'm not going to do a cast piece. If this was a full restoration type scenario, it would be a completely different situation. It's not. It's an Ironhead. It's not worth $1 million. It's not worth anything like that. I think it's still worth money, and I would like to put it back on the road, but does not need to be a absolute perfect repair with numbers matching and everything like that, because none of that is actually the case. I got a -67 here for a casting number, not the VIN, but the casting number. Stamp numbers in the case where they should be on the case, but that's also in the frame where they shouldn't be. But here is the crappy cold welds. Crank will stay in that side, so I was correct in that regard. And now, this is the case half I have to bring to the shop, get cleaned up, and bring to my buddy. Like I said, we're going to weld in a actual piece of aluminum here as opposed to the cast. I could, if I wanted to, sorry, grabbing parts for you. This is a 72 case. This was on my original, the first chopper I ever built, 73 Ironhead. 72, 73, something like that. The chain tensioner bolt in the shoe here backed out, jammed on the primary chain, and exploded this whole side of the case. Oddly enough, on the side of the road, I managed to pick up every one of these pieces. Well, I got a case cheaper than I needed. It was already titled, didn't need numbers matching in Illinois. So now this has just been a wall hanger forever. I have used sections of this casting on the other Ironhead that I built, the blue one, to get that all welded up with actual factory aluminum. I've also now taken chunks out. So I thought about cutting out this tab, the whole entire cast bung, and re-welding that in. I think I will have better luck just replacing it with fresh actual aluminum, like an extrusion type aluminum bar stock, as opposed to trying to run the cast. So we're going to try that, go from there. Let me get this cleaned up. But here is the completed teardown. It is done, it is apart. Motor's half on the bench, the other half is over on the floor in front of that box, because that needs to go to the shop to get blasted, welded, cleaned up, fixed, repaired properly instead of my half-ass attempt on the first go. Thanks for watching. Tell your friends. I'm really trying to hit that 500 mark by the end of the year. If I can get over that, even better. If I fall short, I'll be disappointed. You guys have no say in any of that, unless you're supporting the channel and all those other things. Also, I got a buddy of mine that's working on shirt designs. If anybody's interested, I will be posting those up here as soon as we kind of get some stuff going. Or if you're interested in shirts or anything along the line for Wrenching Wrecked, shoot me some ideas in the comments. I am a blank canvas. I have no affiliation, no ties to anything. But I would like to start kind of doing a lot more of this because this is really what I enjoy doing. I will constantly be posting videos, whether people watch them or not, because I've realized it also helps me when I go to put things back together that I wasn't paying attention to. So thanks for watching. Tell your friends. Please share. Like, subscribe button below. Help me get to that 500. Make my year. Thank you very much for watching. We'll catch you guys soon.